Hello everyone. So in this tutorial we will learn two functions, both deals with strings. One is called starts with and the other is called ends with. Both have similar use cases. The start with function is like used to find out if a string attribute starts with whatever we want, or we can use the ends with to do the same thing, but to check if the string attribute is like ending with a particular string. So we can use this for some practical uses also. I'll show you an example. We'll put a geometry node and we'll put on the crag model, the test model. So if you see, by default this is like packed. Okay, so today we'll create something like we'll create a switch, and we will switch between two different functions based on operations, or functions based on whether the object is packed or not. Okay, so first we'll find out if an object is packed, and we'll use starts with for it. So if you come to the geometry spreadsheet, and there are things called intrinsic attributes. So intrinsic attributes are like hidden attributes that Houdini uses in the background, but it's not accessible directly. So should come here, and if you come here you can see this type name attribute. So if you turn on, it all has a similar value, packed geometry. So what happens is, when an object is packed, they will always have this attribute starting with the string pack, pack. The geometry may differ, like packed primitive or something else, but it will always starts with pack. So in this use case we can use starts with function to find out if this attribute is like really starting with pack, and based on that we can switch between two operations. We'll see how it is done. We'll put down an attribute triangle node. Okay, and the first thing we need is to extract this intrinsic attribute to a normal attribute. So we can just put s at type. We'll create a attribute called type, and we will use a function called primintrinsic. So this function lets you extract attribute values from intrinsic attributes. So the variables that it needs is, the first one is the geo input, so that will be 0. The second one is the attribute name, but within double quotes. So the attribute name is type name, and at primnum, because we'll be running it over primitives. If you see, the type name is a primitive attribute, so we'll just convert from points to primitives. So now we have created a new attribute called type, and we have taken the values from this intrinsic attribute. Now we don't need this intrinsic attribute anymore. We will just hide it. Okay, so now we will see how to use the starts with to do a simple operation. So we'll check if this type attribute is like a starting with a pack. So we'll use the if statement. If starts with is the function name. It needs two inputs. The first one will be the attribute name, so that will be s at type. The second one is the string that it should we are going to check if it starts with. Okay. So in our case it is pack, capital P, remember. So if this is true, we'll create a integer attribute called switch, and we'll set the value 1. And if this fails, we'll set it as 0. Cool. Oh, we forgot a bracket here, and equal to, and a semicolon. Yeah. So now the switch attributes value is all 1, because as expected this is starting with the pack. Now if, for example, if you change this pack to something else, let's say Zach, it all turns to 0 because the condition fails. We'll change it back to pack. So now we have this two attribute values, a single attribute with two different values. So we can use this in a switch node to switch between two operations. But this is currently in the primitive, and it has like multiple primitives. So we will actually average it out and promote it as a detail attribute. So detail attributes will have a single value through for the entire objects. So we'll promote it from primitive to detail, and the attribute name is switch. Now we can come to the detail attribute and you can see there is a switch value. This we can access from anywhere. For example, I'll put a switch node, and we can switch between two. So for example, I'll just put here left side wheel, I'll put color black, and here I'll put color of red. Okay, so if it is packed, we will bring out this black color. If it is not packed, we'll do this operation of changing it to red color. Okay, so we have to get this switch value from here. We'll use this detail function, detail open quotes dot slash. So here we can access all the attribute, all the nodes from here. The node that we need is attribute promote. Yeah, so from attribute promote, we are going to extract the switch attributes value. Okay, the second variable will be the attributes name, which is switch in our case, and 0. So this should access the value from here. So right now it is packed, so we are getting a value of 1 in the switch, so that we are getting the color of 0. Now if it is, because it is switching to 1 because it is a packed geometry. If it is not packed geometry before this attribute rank, it is obviously going to give a value of 0 and we'll get a color black. We'll check if it is true. Not color, convert. Yeah, you can see we are getting a value of 0 in the switch, so that we are getting the black color. So this is how you can use Startswith for something useful. And there is one more function that we can learn today. It is called Endswith. Okay, it is very similar to Startswith, but just it checks whether this the string attribute is like ending with whatever we are giving it here or not. So we'll put Endswith. Okay, so right now if you see the attribute, it doesn't ends with pack, right? So let me remove the convert also. Yeah, it removes it. Sorry, it ends with geometry, so it's not ending with pack. So we are getting a value of 0. Now let's try like to put something like the last 3 words, 3 letters. Try, and obviously the switch is like change to 1. If you change to something, it's going to be false, and geometry, it's going to be true or 1, and that's it. So I hope you learned something from this tutorial. Follow my Patreon and YouTube channels. I'm planning to bring on many more VEX related tutorials in this channel. Thank you.